Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of the Online Distilling Conference. Today we've got Jim Rankin with us and we are discussing a real corker and other closures, an introduction to Rankin Brothers. Sorry about the pun there, Jim, but lovely to have you here.
Oh, do you know what? Pun gratefully received. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, right? But no, look, very, very happy to join you.
So can you tell us first off a little bit about Rankin Brothers? You've been around for a while, nearly 250 years, I believe.
Well, it feels like I have personally, but look, I'm part of a sixth generation family-owned and managed business. We started off in the late 1700s, in 1774. We had a business. We're Scots. We're from Colin, Tyree, on the western seaboard or the Western Isles, but we came over to mainland Scotland and started a cork cutting business in Glasgow and in Stirling, and at that time we were importing raw material corkwood from Portugal and hand cutting stoppers for bottlers of wines and spirits. So since 1774, we've been sort of tasking ourselves with the responsibility of the design, development and closures for the beers, wines and spirits sector. We own cork forestry out in Portugal, which is rather unique. You find a great many people sort of supplying or selling cork stoppers and closures, but we uniquely sort of grow our own raw material. And with our partners help to transform that raw material into a range of closures, bottled stoppers and closures, again for the beers, wines and spirits industry.
And then fast forwarding to today, it's a great range of different products that you got. I remember always when I see your stand at the expo or any of these conferences, there's always so many different things that you can help people with. Can you just give a little bit more detail about those different options that people have available to them?
Look, cork is fundamental to what we do. It's part of our DNA, and as somebody that looks after and is custodian for 4,500 acres of cork forestry in Portugal, then it's obvious that cork and cork products are going to be our first priority. But look, we also recognise as a business that is supporting brand owners and particularly mature whisky and the craft distillers. We're a broad church, and we have to be a broad church because our offer has to reflect the diversity of what they do as well. And while natural cork is a fantastic and, in my opinion, unrivaled mechanical closure, in so much as it's the only natural material that you can squeeze around the belly and it doesn't have any lateral expansion, so to speak. It performs really well and best in class as a mechanical liquid proof seal. But look, there are challenges with natural cork, and one of those challenges is in seeding in particular, and particularly for clear white spirits like gins and vodkas, and thankfully we're all enjoying this ongoing renaissance of craft distilling. We've never had so much choice as consumers, but we recognise that there are limitations to cork for certain uses. So we have developed, and we've had to develop a wider menu of choice. So our customers that are after closures, we can take them down or through Doré, which is natural cork. We can also offer up micro agglomerated cork products, but we can also offer up a range of synthetic and hybrid materials. And indeed, our synthetic offer includes a hybrid product, which is a mix of natural cork granulate and synthetic. So, you get all the benefits of a synthetic through sensorial and no particulate and no discoloration, but you get the aesthetics of a cork product, which is, of course, in a branded business, is what our customers are wanting. with all those kind of cues to quality.
I know there's one chap that reviews gin, and a big part of his test is that pop test. That's what it very much sees as part of that sound. You know, it's almost like, you know, you're tasting it, you're smelling it, you're looking at it, and then there's also that audio kind of sensory thing, which I think is often possibly overlooked, but I know something that a lot of people do look for, as long as, though, it's like you said, it's liquid proof and the stuff is
absolutely, and that is the key. We all love a bit of magic. We always love a bit of theatre, and particularly at the end of a long testing week, when we open up that fridge door and reach, it's always nice to be able to draw a cork from either a bottle of wine or a bottle of spirits, and to have that theatrical pop. It's part of that kind of process of celebration. But you know, we cannot rely as producers of cork products, we cannot rely on just the theatre of it. We have to make sure that the closures that we design, manufacture and supply these brands are robust, and they're fit for purpose, fit for function, and that they help certainly the brand team restate all of those core values and attributes as well.
So you mentioned that you are the custodian of this forest, as it were. Is that I guess it's quite helpful in terms of like being able to specify the sort of quality of the product that you want? So you're vertically integrated, so you can control that from the raw material right up until it's going to the bottles. Well,
we know that quality can be compromised at every point of the process. So what we do with our terrific, we've got terrific partners, and our partner in Portugal is a business called Cork Supply, and they've invested significantly in process control and in all of the latest technologies that support best manufacturing practice. But it's not just about what they do, it's about what we also do as corkwood growers. And quality starts right from acorn. It starts right in the forest. And it looks at our husbandry of the forest, how we protect and how we best serve what is a fragile ecosystem, how we can sustain that ecosystem and prevent any loss of biodiversity through our practices as well as supporting the offer, which is cork. So it's all really, it's from acorn to bottle, to use another pun, but it truly is.
Marvelous. I know you took part in our eco packaging panel, which is definitely worth checking out. Really just a superb conversation there. And I got the sense from what you were saying that perhaps because of people's concerns about single-use plastics, because of more the environmental side of packaging, you're starting to see people maybe thinking again, or a rise in the popularity of natural cork being as a naturally occurring and of course biodegradable substance for the same reason.
Well, look, I think consumers are pretty much still led by their eyes. They buy desirable products that excite them. So environmental matters, don't wow them as much as perhaps it should. I mean, things are changing, and as each day passes, we're seeing an increased focus and energies towards sustainability. But really, for us, two things have got to happen. The first thing and the most important thing is that we need to become more conscious as buyers and as consumers. We need to perhaps ask how the product is produced, what materials are used in the packaging, and question how far that product has traveled to get to us, as it were. But secondly, and this is where we come in more, secondly, as producers, we need to design in sustainable materials that are more environmentally positive, whether that's natural, as in natural cork, whether it's bio-sourced, whether the materials are recyclable or biodegradable, And again, this is where cork has such influence and can play such a critical role.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the reasons, I guess, why sometimes some people did move a bit more towards other alternatives to natural cork, and occasionally you hear there are a few like, oh well, there's this problem and there's that problem. When things go wrong, I guess, is what we should talk about. And I think we got to have a frank conversation. It's talking about these things, because people are thinking, well, which one do I go for? So cork taint has always been one of these things that is kind of like, it's the thing that's kind of hiding in the background, the unseen evil that's going to destroy your spirits and upset your customers.
Yeah, Nostradamus that's lurking in the background, isn't it? Well, look, I mean, it might come as a bit of a shock and a surprise to learn that, notwithstanding the fact that our business has been going since the late 1700s, the origin of cork taint was pretty much unknown until the publication of what we call the Quercus report back in 1996. I mean, we knew that the phenomenon existed, but we didn't know, or we knew very little about the chemistry and the processes that brought it to our attention, or got it stuck up our nose, as it were. What we did know is that it was becoming an increasing problem. It was becoming a significant commercial issue for our customers, the bottlers, and for the retailers, the supermarkets in the UK that were looking to increase the diversity of their choice, increase their menu of choice in terms of sourcing wines from all over the world. I mean, when I was growing up, there was just, you had half an aisle of a supermarket and it was Leaf Round Milch and a few other brands. Now there are 2 or 3 aisles of wine products. So at the time, back in the 1990s, this offer was expanding. So cork and cork-related issues was a significant commercial problem for the retailers. So along came the Quercus report. This was a 5-year funded study, European study. The Quercus report was published. We suddenly knew, eureka, we suddenly found out what the chemical agent responsible for musty aroma was, and that was this chloroanisole, TCA, to give it its abbreviated name, but that's the chemical agent that's responsible for musty aroma. And as soon as we knew that, we could set about sort of honing in on it and putting things in place that mitigated the risk of occurrence of TCA. Now, from that point in 1996, that's when the industry was really able to start to invest in process control initially, and more recently develop modern innovative technologies to really get us to a point where these technologies are designed to remove detectable TCA. And what do I mean by that? I mean that these technologies detect, or can detect, down to about 0.5 nanograms per litre. A good nose, I can't speak for your nose, but my nose might be able to detect deviations at around kind of 1.5 to 2 nanograms per litre. So the technologies have been set at 1/4 of that, or sort of 0.5 nanograms. So we have these technologies in place now, and what this should mean, providing we're using reputable cork producers or suppliers, what this should mean is that cork taint is a thing of the past. So as an industry, we've invested, and as suppliers of cork products, we want to be talking to you about other things. So musty aroma, largely at today's date, is certainly not the problem that it was 20, 25 years ago, and shouldn't be a problem ongoing. I mean, the offer that we have with many sectors is that we have, again, supported by our supply chain partner in Portugal, Cork Supply, we can underwrite to give a buyback bottle guarantee. With that confident that the controls and the technologies that we have put in place can support the customer with a taint-free product.
Well, that is great. Let's have a look at some of the other issues that might come up. As you can imagine, in my work, I end up opening a lot of bottles. Sometimes if we're at a competition, we might end up opening, 800 to 1,000 bottles or something like that. And obviously, with doing talks and tastings and things, one frustration is when the top becomes detached from the cork, and then you've got to try and get it out. That's not much fun. But the other is this kind of weird sort of issue that I sometimes see, where I ended up with, and this is an example here, there'll be a zoom up for the people watching at home. It was a very, very saturated cork. It was from a white spirit, but it was exceptionally saturated. And now when you look at this cork, it almost looks a sort of like a prune almost, because it's all kind of saturated, a bit like you've been in the bath or something like that.
Okay, well, that shouldn't happen. One of the effects that alcohol and particularly alcohol spirit has on a cork is to actually soften it and shrink it. And let us not forget that natural cork shanks, they've got lenticels or pores. I mean, each and every stopper, natural cork stopper, whether it's a batch of 10, 100, 100,000, as it were, they're as unique as your fingerprints. They've all got different surface mapping and this, that, and the other. But what we try to do is we try to have a conversation with our customers that want a natural cork product. We have a conversation with them. First off, we ask them to share with us details of their bottle specification. And then we look at that specification, and hopefully together we design the most optimal closure to suit that bottle. And that's about, in terms of the natural cork, it's about defining what the right quality standard is, because the higher the quality standard of cork, the more homogeneous the cork material is, the fewer lenticels it has. The cork industry works on a grading system. If you look at the offer of natural cork, it will trickle down from what we call extra fine floor quality, which is very smooth, again, very homogeneous aspect of very, very few pores and lenticels, right down to a number 5 quality cork, which has got a lot of holes, a lot of porosity. Now, we always say to our customers in spirits, from mature whiskey co to craft distillers, if they're doing particularly brown spirits and they want a closure of value, please don't concern yourself. Certainly don't go anywhere near a number 4 or 5 quality cork. You should be selecting out the very, very best quality, the most homogeneous natural cork with fewest holes and porosity. So you should be going for extra fine quality and superior quality. So that's the first thing, to reduce down the number of pores, because the spirit will wash into those pores, and as it washes out, it may draw out some fine dust and particulate that could lead to discoloration. But it will also shrink when the bottle's back upright again. It will have the shrinking effect. So use good quality cork, and make sure the other consideration, the important consideration, is to make sure that the cork has been sized properly, that somebody has stuck a rule over the cork mouth board, that they've understood the cork mouth board dimensions and have factored in what the correct size of cork stopper should be for that bottle. So where you've just shown me this discolored cork, that says to me that it's undersized for the bottle, that it's not fitting well enough, so that the spirit, whether that was a gin or a whiskey, has traveled up and gotten between the inside of the glass bore and the outside of the cork shank, and has just continuously washed in that interface, so to speak, and had the effect of drying out that cork shank. If it's sized properly, if it's the right quality, you won't see what you've just shown me.
Well, that's good. It's good to know what the answer is to that. Because I mean, it was fine because I was using it for a tasting or something. But you know, if you'd purchased a bottle and you were using it as a gift or something like that, it would impact the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I have a load of spare closures at home, so I could just change it for another one, so it was fine. But when you have contents, the liquid, spirits, liqueurs, whatever it be, of varying ABVs. So, you know, we could be going down to sort of the 20s right up to the sort of cast strength things, and also the sugar level. Does that make a difference on the sort of cork that you should use, or any considerations on sizing and things like that?
Absolutely. And this takes us back to the conversation that we've just had on discoloration. Again, we should be, and our team here at Rankin should be absolutely interrogating the brand owner or our customer at that first meeting. We need to know what the ABV is. We need to know what that sugar content is. We need to know whether it's a liqueur, whether it's a spirit. We need to know where it's going. Where are you shipping the product? Are you shipping the product over the equator? Are you shipping it to hot, humid climates? We need to know all of that, and that's part of, you know, I suppose, our Q&A that we have, and that Q&A that we have right from the get-go in the conversation with our customer is about building a brief, is about understanding what the ultimate specification should point to by way of materials that we select, and this, that, and the other. But you're right. I mean, for sticky products, you know, we will not recommend natural cork or microagglomerate. We may ask the customer to investigate synthetic options, because a synthetic material, it's a closed cellular structure, it's a smooth, and it doesn't allow for, you know, any of that liquid to seep into that shank, so to speak. But, you know, with a higher ABV or a high alcohol content product, you know, cast strength whiskey, then really it's natural cork. You know, natural cork is a robust enough material to be able to support, you know, its fit and function and performance at high alcohol levels.
So just to very quickly give a practical application, because I always think these are it's a useful way of understanding it. If I'm a gin distiller and I make Navy strength gin and I make slow gin as a liqueur at 20%, I need to be thinking that actually it might not be the case that I can just put them in the same bottle with the same closure. They need to be treated in different ways.
It might not be the same case.
Might not be.
Yeah.
Worth having the conversation.
It's always worth having the conversation. And look, we run trials. You know, I'll happily accept product from any of my customers, not just to put it on trial, but that's the kind of relationship hopefully we can have with our customers, that they're not, you know, if they really do want us to do a good job for them, then we would encourage them to share enough with us that we can then go away with that information. We can run our own trials, set those up, and qualify whatever it is that we're going to recommend by way of a closure.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jim. Was there any other kind of final points or new developments or anything that you wanted to just share before we go?
Well, other than, I mean, we continue to, I mean, we've invested significantly in our business over the last couple of years. We've you know, we've taken, hopefully, you know, the time that's been afforded to us through the pandemic to think about our business, to think about what our consumers and our customers are wanting. Things at the moment point to a more sustainable future, and it's for us, and the investments that we're currently making in our business will support a much more sustainable offer going forward. These are the kind of conversations that we're having, that we want to be having with our customers, You know, we need our customers to test us. We need our customers to give us encouragement and to give us a shove every now and again. But look, I think that we are certainly better placed now than we ever have been to offer our customer choice. Choice predicated on cost as well as choice predicated on what they're seeking to do with their brand and how much they want to spend.
And if people want to get in touch, what's the best way of contacting you?
Send us, jump onto our website, have a look at our website, www.rankincork.co.uk, or talk to us, pick up the phone, and all our details are on the website. But we, you know, we're, as a sixth generation business that was founded back in 1774, you know, we're a people's business. We like to develop relationships, and it doesn't matter a hoot to us whether or not you're just starting out or whether you're a mature business that's been around just as long as we have. We want to develop a relationship. We want to get as close to your business and what you're seeking to do as possible. So look, send us an email and tell us to phone you or phone us.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Jim. It's some great knowledge and insight there. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, David. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.